thank you all for coming today. I appreciate it as you start your internships this summer at your various companies. Glad you decided to take a little time out of your days to learn Tableau. So I'm going to start by giving a little bit of an introduction to myself, kind of walk you through how this series is going to go, show you some resources to kind of help you get started, get an understanding of what Tableau is, data analytics as a whole, and then go into a very brief and high-level overview of Tableau Desktop as a whole at the end, so you can get an idea of what the inner workings looks like as we get progressing through the series. All right, so I'm going to start with the landing page that you guys all use to register. So this is going to be about a 6-week series starting today with office hours and different content each week. So as I mentioned, today is going to be an introduction to the series and Tableau as a whole. And then as we progress, like level up with Tableau, how to not excel with Tableau, are going to be focused on more specific features and a little bit more advanced topics within Tableau. So we're going to try to progress you, have you learn a little bit as we go through these series. And then the office hours are going to be handled very informally. So what I'll do after each session is I'll send out the recording of what we just talked about, as well as some links that are relevant to what was shown during the hour. And then on top of that, I'll send you a list of about 10 questions to just take a look at and to think about what you just learned. There's going to be some challenges on there to help ask you find some specific data. Are you guys able to hear me? Okay, great, just making sure. Like I was saying, so the office hours are going to be open for Q&A. So basically what I would like or challenge you all to do is to come to those office hours with some questions, either around the topics that were presented on that Monday or on a previous week, or if you're running through some of the questions that I send over and you run into a challenge or you're running into a roadblock, that's where these sessions can be used for. And then as we get progressing through this series, there's obviously going to be more and more topics and sessions, so there will be more questions. So don't think you have to ask questions specifically on that one area. And then also at the end, you might see that there is going to be a Viz contest as well. So I will kind of elaborate on that a little bit more as we go through today, so you have an understanding of what you can expect from there, how you can get involved in that. All right, so to start, since you are all interns, I don't know if you are aware, but as a student, you do get Tableau software for free throughout the time you are a student. So that's really awesome. So you can request it directly through Tableau, so tableau.com/academics/students. And I will be sending out these URLs after this call, so don't feel like you have to write these down. And if anybody has any questions as I'm going, please enter them into the chat and I will get to them as we can. So go out here and click Get Tableau for free. It'll ask you a couple of questions like where you're going to school, what your email is. You do need to use your .edu email address to get access to Tableau. Now, what I suggest for everybody to do is request the Tableau software through the students page so you can get that key. But you might have to download Tableau Desktop itself from your given organization. So you guys might be on a different version while you're at an internship than what the Tableau student license will be, because that will be the most up-to-date version. Now, luckily, you will be able to use the key for both your personal laptop and your work laptop. So you will be able to use that same key in multiple places. So, and then also on this page, you will see there are lots of other resources on Tableau Desktop and Tableau for Students. So I recommend going out here, just take a look at, this will talk about why Tableau, and there will be also some stories on people who have used Tableau from an internship perspective. And that I will show a little bit here as well, where I included some more resources specifically on how people have been successful with their internships and utilizing skills like Tableau and data analytics as a whole. And it'll also talk about how these skills are being highly sought after by employers in 2018. So if you pay attention to LinkedIn or any of the hot jobs out there, hot skills, you will see data-related skills top to bottom. And then some direct Q&A from interns on their experience, like I mentioned. And then if you really want to get unique, as I know many of you will be applying for jobs in the very near future, take a look at how you can build resumes in Tableau. Talking about separating yourself, you can imagine these recruiters are going to be receiving hundreds, if not thousands, of resumes for a given job posting. Okay, to go a little bit deeper into this, what I just talked about. So you'll see that the demand for data talent is increasing. So data presentation, statistical analysis, data mining, data visualization, just about everything you can imagine, you'll start seeing in more and more job postings. Even if it isn't a data-related job, there's going to be some type of analysis required there. More on the increased percentage. That's obviously a very large percentage. And then specifically on how it relates to Tableau, I'm glad you guys are obviously choosing to leverage Tableau and learn Tableau throughout your internship, and I hope you do have some Tableau-related projects at your specific company, and if you do, I highly recommend reaching out to me directly, and I can see how we can help you on those projects here at Tableau. And then as you're starting to learn, and specifically in the beginning, you're going to want to find some inspiration with Tableau. So how can you do that? One of the ways that I recommend specifically is to go out to Tableau Public. Take a look at some of the vizzes built by the community members within Tableau. So you'll see this is an extremely public site. So if you do use Tableau, please keep it to public data, something that can be shared with the world, because as soon as anything is published on Tableau Public, it is a definition public. But I like to come out here and just take a look at the viz of the day. What's featured? What are people doing? How are they looking at data in a specific way? This is one of my favorite ones recently. The amazing letter E. Who would have thought the letter E could be so interesting? And as you scroll down this story, it'll kind of talk a little about the specific letter E, how often it comes up, where in books, etc. And all of this is built within Tableau. So it'll kind of give you an idea of the art of the possible. Because I know when I first started using Tableau, I was building, very basic charts, and not really sure how in-depth and how expansive of a tool and platform it is. So go out here and find some data that you care about. And that is the easiest way to learn Tableau as well. Find a data set that is interesting to you. So if you like sports, pull down something NBA related, something hockey related. If you like food, pull down a restaurant data set. And I'll include some links where you can pull this data directly from our website, or not from our website, but from the internet for free in ingestible format to Tableau. Just a great tool out there. All right, so now I'm going to show you some other free resources to kind of help you get started, to help supplement the sessions that we're going to be doing here directly from our website. So we offer a lot of free training videos. Tableau, these videos are great. This is how I learned Tableau initially. I recommend coming out here, taking a look at some of the videos. Start with the 25-minute getting started video. This is a very great background and refresher on what Tableau is. It's going to start from the beginning with a data set, walk you through how you can go about developing content within Tableau, and then sharing it on what's called Tableau Server, which is how you're going to get what you build into the hands of your team, your audience, or your organization as a whole. And then as you go down here, there's a section on Tableau Prep, which one of the sessions that we do for this series will be on Tableau Prep towards the end, right here on July 9th. And now Tableau Prep is a new tool actually offered by Tableau. It's before you start the analysis, the analytics is how you prepare your data to be ingested by Tableau. So it's a really great new feature. Recommend taking a look at that. And then as we're going to get going through here, these are just kind of a little bit more specific. So if you have questions specifically on mapping or specifically on calculations, just hop in here. All these videos are about 2-3 minutes long, really quick shots, and it'll kind of walk you through exactly what can be done. And then over here, I recommend taking a look at the starter kits. So this is kind of a way that it walks you through learning Tableau. This is how we find that people ingest and learn the platform the easiest. So it'll start, high level, and then again, just kind of get in depth as you go through the sections. And you can pick and choose, what you read and what you watch. So there's going to be articles and there's going to be videos associated with each section here. And then there are paid trainings as well. I'm assuming you probably won't be involved in those, but down the line, if you do want to take your Tableau learning and your Tableau skills to the next level, that is something that would be available. All right, so now I've talked a little bit about what Tableau is, how you can get started, and what this series is going to be about. So as I mentioned in the beginning, we're going to be doing something called a Viz contest throughout this series. And I'll provide the guidelines and the information in the data set right after this call. But what essentially is going to happen is I'm going to send you the data set, and you're going to have the whole time to create a visualization. So up until July 6th, probably ask for submissions on July 9th. So I have about a week to review them, digest them, offer some feedback on what you did, and then pick a few winners to get some Tableau prizes. With the data set we're going to use we're going to use Airbnb data from a given city, and you'll have all this time to develop a visualization for the contest. You're going to be creating a Tableau public profile, getting it published out there. It'll kind of show you how and what that process looks like. So that is, a fun way to get involved as well. All right, so now I'm going to actually dive into Tableau, and I'm going to check if we have any questions yet. All right, best book for Tableau. That's a really good question. So I'll show you a few. All right, so oddly enough, Tableau for Dummies, really great book. I have this one sitting on my desk right now. I reference this all the time. It really starts, again, high level and moves a little bit more in depth as we progress through. So Tableau for Dummies is a great way to learn and pick up Tableau. And then secondly, one that I would recommend as you progress learning Tableau a little bit longer is the Big Book of Dashboards. Sorry. So this is a book written by 3 Tableau experts. So they're 3 Tableau Zen Masters, which are the highest level you can be recognized by Tableau with regards to your Tableau skills and your involvement within the Tableau community. There's only 30 of them worldwide. So Steve Wexler, Andy Kreibel, and Jeffrey Schaefer came together, wrote this book, and it kind of talks about how you can visualize your data for real-world business scenarios. So it's going to give you some examples, talk you through a problem, talk you through the situation, talk you through the outcome. It's a really awesome book. Highly recommend it. So those are 2 that I recommend right off the bat, and I'll send you links to these as well. Another question, do we need to learn SQL for custom formula in Tableau? Nope, that is not something you need to learn, and that is something I will show a little bit about in the demo coming up here. So great question, though. All right, so jump into Tableau. So this is Tableau Desktop. So when you open Tableau, this is what you're going to see. On the right-hand side, this is the Discover pane. So this is going to link you directly to the training resources on our website that I just showed you. So if I click here, it'll bring you right to that Getting Started video. So just trying to make it a little bit easier for everybody. One-stop shop to get to the training. Some more resources down here. And then Visit of the Week, which is Tableau Public. So this will link you directly to Tableau Public itself. This middle gray area right here, this is where you're going to find your recent workbooks. So you'll see your recent places, what workbooks you've been using lately. I always correlate this to your recent history within your Microsoft Explorer or your internet. Then over here, these are the data sources we're going to connect to. So as you can see, we connect to both flat files and server files. So flat files are like Microsoft Excel, JSON, text, Access, PDF, etc. And then we connect to a robust number of servers natively. So you'll see anything from Dropbox to Box Connector to Google Sheets to Marketo, a lot of SQL servers, SAP, so just about anything. We also do some web data connectors, so if you wanted to do some analysis of social media data, Twitter, Instagram, things like that. I recently pulled down my LinkedIn data, made a visualization on that, so just about anything. And then if there's a database that you're looking to connect to, or your company is looking to connect to that you don't see on this list, that's a great situation to reach out to me. And you can use that other database connector. Looks like we got a question here. Can we connect to any server to collect data in Tableau? I'm not going to say any server. I would say there's a lot of different options out there, as you can see here. And if you don't see what the specific one that you're looking to connect to on this list, we can always explore the other database connector. But there are certainly going to be some out there that we do not connect to quite yet. But feel free to reach out to me if you want to talk to me specifically about what you are looking to connect to here. So, all right, in this case, we're going to just connect to an Excel file. And I'm actually going to show you the Excel file, so what it looks like prior to the analysis within Tableau. So we're going to look at some data from a large big box retail chain, let's say, like a Supply Max, like an Office Depot, Staples, something along those lines. I'm going to go ahead and open this up here. So you can see there's a lot of rows and columns within this data set. It looks like every item that a customer orders has its own line item, as I'm looking here, and there's about 6, 7 items here for one person. So there's a lot of data here, clearly. I'm not really sure what I'm looking at. So that's what we're going to use Tableau for, as that layer on top of your Excel file to kind of bring it to life and start getting some insights and analysis from it. All right, back to Tableau. So to connect to the file, all I have to do here is click Excel, in this case, Sample Superstore. And the data set that I'm playing with here today is you guys will have access to. So when you get Tableau, as you get Tableau, you'll get the copy of Sample Superstore. So if you wanted to follow along, as you will get the recording with this right after this call. So if you look over here, there's 3 different options here: order, people, and returns. So I'm going to go back to the Excel file here, order, people, and returns. So essentially, these are just showing that we have 3 different tabs within that one Excel file. For today's demonstration, all I want to do is look at orders, for example. So I'm going to bring that under the table. And as you can see, Tableau is populating the data here automatically for you. You can see the rows, we have the columns, we can filter it if we want, we can filter it by customer name. So you can take a look and get an idea of what the lay of the land looks like in regards to your data. You can also do a little bit of data manipulation here. So if, for example, if we don't think we're going to use ship date for this analysis, I can go ahead and hide this column. And let's say, I don't think we're going to look at product ID either. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that as well. So just like that, we're making the data set a little bit more clean, a little bit more, focused on exactly the analysis we're looking to do. And all of the changes that we're going to make here in Tableau is never going to affect your underlying data set. You'll always have the ability to go back in there and see the original form. This is just happening within Tableau. You see up here we have the option to have 2 types of connections. So we can connect via live or via an extract. So a live connection is where you're connecting direct to a server, to a database, basically. So if you have a constant updated information. So if you were looking at, for example, let's say sales information, and you're a company like Amazon and you had constant sales every other second, multiple times a second people are buying set information, and we want that to constantly update within Tableau. You can set that to a live connection, so it's automatically feeding to Tableau. Or you can connect via extract. So an extract is where you're taking a snapshot, basically a shot in time of a given data set. So for example, let's say I take an extract of my sales data right now. I will have data as of, 11/23 on Monday, June 4th. But with an extract, what you can do is you can schedule automatic refreshes. So if you wanted, let's say the data is updated every day, you can be like, hey, Tableau, pull down the extract, update it every Monday or every day at 8 a.m. So extract is pulling it off the server, a little bit more performant. It's going to be a little bit better performing on the visualization and the back end side. But always, as you're deciding between a live or extract connection, looks like somebody just chatted in and they cannot see my screen. Are people are not able to see my screen? Okay, looks like people can see my screen. So if you can't see my screen, I would just maybe close it out real quick and hop back in. And if you're having some issues, this will be going out as a recording as well. All right, so as I was saying, in regards to your data connection, just take into account how often does my data update? How often do I need the updated data, for example, just so you can understand and you can set up everything properly in the beginning. In this case, I'm just going to do an extract. We're going to go ahead and click on sheet 1, save this. All right, so when you click on sheet 1, this is going to bring you to where the magic happens within Tableau. This is when you're going to start doing some analysis. This is where your data is ready for input. You're ready to do some analysis. You're ready to build a visualization based on what you are doing. So if you notice on the left-hand side, Tableau separates your data set into dimensions and measures. So dimensions are basically the categorical fields within your data set, and the measures are the numbers. So you're going to use the dimensions to slice and dice the measures so you can get to that next level, deeper information that you are looking for. And then over here on the Show Me side, this is a tab that I always like to mention. This is where Tableau is going to suggest some visualizations for you. So I will kind of go into that a little bit deeper as we're doing some analysis here, but it's going to be a great feature for you to kind of learn and help you get started with Tableau. But I'm going to just go ahead and jump right into it and start to do some analysis here. So let's take sales. We're going to drag that right over to rows. And just like that, Tableau is going to populate this bar for us. So we have about $2.3 million in sales for the duration of the data set that we're looking at. But we're going to get a little bit deeper. So we're going to drag category. And we're going to drag subcategory over. Whoops. There we go. So now you can see we're looking at sales by category and then specifically by subcategory. We can go ahead and sort this if we want, top to bottom, low to high. By default, it is sorted just alphabetically within each category. So we're going to go ahead and sort this from high to low. And if you notice here in the middle, we have about 5 categories that have sales information, but it's somewhat insignificant. So I want to make this a little bit more condensed, just a little bit easier on the eyes of my audience. So we're going to go ahead and group these items together as they're within the same given category. So we're going to click on one, hold shift, group members. Just like that, we group those 5 data points together, and it's showing that in one aggregated bar. So we're going to name this small office items. All right, so now this is great. We have all the information on the sales by subcategory, but what does that mean? Are these products profitable for my company? So let's take this analysis to the next level. So let's drag profit to the marks card, which is right here. So this is our color. And just like that, Tableau is populating this total sum within each bar. So the colors are representing the profit, whereas the height of the bar is still representing sales. So if you can see here on the right, we have a scale. The orange represents very unprofitable categories, and a deep blue represents very profitable categories. So I'm just going to show you that again. If we drag profit to the marks card right here, color, showing the profitability level here. Now, this is awesome, but we want to see if this is a trend. Is this a trend across the United States? Is this within one given territory that's bringing us down? What does that look like across the company as a whole? So we're going to drag region over. And just like that, we have a population, we have a clear picture of how our company is doing within each main region. So in this case, the data is separated by 4 regions: West, South, East, and Central. But if you had custom regions, custom areas, you can set that. It's all based on the data that you're putting into Tableau. But the sample Superstore data set is just the 4 major US regions, because this is a continental United States data set. If it was the world, it would have that as well. All right, so we're going to go ahead and rename this bar chart. All right. Now I want to take a look at a map. I want to see it specifically, how are we performing in this specific city, New York, for example. All right, so let's take state, drag that into the view, populating all of the states that have sales information. So it looks like all 50 states have bought something from my store. Let's drag sales to size. And then we're going to drag profit to color. I'm going to play around with the formatting here a little bit, make these a little bit bigger. And we're actually going to drag city into the view to make it a little bit more detailed here for us. All right, so we're going to make this a little bit opaque. How did you get the map? Great question. So I'm gonna start this over so you can see it real quick again. So to get the map, all you got to do is drag a geographic field. So in this case, I want to look at state. I started with state. You just drag that over right into the view. Then I'm going to drag city over just because I want a little bit more detail. And it's automatically populating those data points where you have data. So in this case, all of these dots represent cities that have purchased products from my organization. And then to add a little bit of detail and a little bit more context to this map itself, that's where I'm going to drag a couple of the measures to the marks card. So if you look at here, we're going to drag sales to size. Now the size of the dot is representing the total sales, and then the profit to color again, where the profit is going to be shown on color. And then just to make everything pop a little bit, I'm going to make these a little bit opaque. I'm going to throw a border on here and make them bigger so you can really see what's going on. All right. Hide these. So now you can see all of these circles represent sales numbers and profitability for each city. So in this case, you can see here, Seattle's a pretty big circle. So we can click on here, got a lot of sales and a lot of profit, but I want to get to the data behind this one data point. So if you hover over Seattle, this little card is going to come up. You take your cursor over here to the lines, and this is going to get you to the underlying data behind Seattle. So now you can export that, do some specific analysis on Seattle itself if you want. But no, on a specific data point within Tableau, you'll always have the ability to get to that underlying data. All right, so now on this map, I want to see the only profitable cities. I want to see on the map all of the cities that are showing profit, for example. So if you right-click profit under here on measures, show filter, this little filter bar on the right-hand side is going to populate. You see you can change it. So we're going to go ahead and put a 0 here. And just like that, these are all the cities within the United States that your company sells to that are profitable. So you can see they're spread out. Obviously, in the higher populated areas like the Northwest, California, New York, some parts of Michigan, is where the high concentration of sales are. So it's a really great way to kind of get to that details. Or let's say you want to do the opposite, for example. You want to see what cities are not performing well. So we'll change this to 0. And now you can see all of these cities are performing very poorly. You have low profit or negative profit in a lot of cases. Why is that? It gives you points of next level, right? So you can take a look at, hey, what's going on in Texas? Are we paying too high taxes? Are we, shipping correctly? Are we discounting too much? What exactly is going on? So it gives your organization ways to find data points that automatically pop out for that next level analysis. So here's where I can just hop in here, take a look at Houston, go to that underlying data, and then say, hey, Mr. Joe Schmo customer had a 95% discount. What happened there? So, really fun way to play around here. And then one other thing I want to show you is if you want to show a filter category map, for example, go ahead and right-click category. We're going to change this to a single value list. Now you can just quickly toggle between the main categories. So now only looking at furniture data, only looking at office supplies, or only looking at technology, for example. So again, adding filters, adding that context to your analysis as you're doing some visualizations is going to be key to get to, that next question, to answer the questions that have come to the start. So that is the map. I'm going to go ahead and call that the map. Going to switch to the chat real quick, see what type of questions we have in. Just give me 1 minute here. So we got a lot of questions about how the Tableau populates a map. So essentially you're going to have some geo coordinates on your data set. So if you, in my case, so we're going to go back to the original data set here. In this case, the data points that we have are city, state, and postal code. So Tableau is automatically recognizing those and populating that on the map for us. So there are a lot of built-in map capabilities within Tableau from the United States perspective, from a worldwide perspective, just about everywhere. And there are additional plugins that you can use per the latest question to get some additional details if you want, but Tableau does have a very robust mapping functionality, and you should be able to do just about everything you need to. Just got a question about how to decide what you drag and drop within the columns and rows. That's a great question, and that's something you'll kind of figure out as you go through it. So there's no one answer to that. It really depends on the type of data you have, the type of analysis you are doing. All right, so to continue, get rid of these boxes here so they're not in the way. As you've seen in the first 2 charts, we've pulled a couple of dimensions and a couple measures. So the question I often get is, can you build a chart with multiple measures? So if I wanted to take a look at my customers from a profitability and a sales perspective on an individual basis, can I do that? And the answer is yes. So let's take a look at that. I want to take a look at our overall customer base, how they're performing. Is the average customer profitable? Are there outliers, etc.? So we're going to drive profit over and sales. So we're going to take 2 measures. Just like that, Tableau is populating a data point for us. We have about 300K in profit and about $2.3 million in sales. Take that next level. We're going to drag category to color. Now we're showing the 3 categories here. And then let's take customer name, drag that to label. Look at that. Just like that, Tableau is creating a scatter plot for us. So now we're taking a look at all of our customers, how they're performing from a sales perspective and profitability. You see the sales is on the bottom and profit is on the left. So what we automatically notice, there's a few outliers. Tamara, Sean, and Cindy. Gives us a point of, hey, how did Tamara have almost a $9,000 profit for 1 customer? Or Cindy, how is she almost $7,000 in the negative just as 1 customer? What is going on there? And that goes back to my question from the last chart. Are we handling discounts properly? Are we doing shipping right? Are we using the right ship modes? Are we doing, overnight? Things along those lines. It gives you that point of analysis. But on this chart, I want to add some analytics to it. I want to see how are we trending. Are the three categories on a per customer basis trending in the right direction? But I'm worried. Tamara and Sean, they're so far out there, their data might skew the analytics here. So I'm going to go ahead and exclude some data points. Right-click Tamara, exclude. Right-click Sean, exclude. So now Tamara and Sean are excluded from this visualization. But again, we're not deleting them from our underlying data set. So you'll always have that data in the original form on the Excel file, for example. But to add the trend, and as you know, in previous lives in Excel or whatever platform you have used, adding trends could be rather difficult. But in Tableau, we aim to make everything as easy as possible. You'll keep hearing drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop. And here I am again, drag and drop. So if we go ahead and click on the analytics pane here, you'll see trend line. We're going to drag that right into the view. Just like that, Tableau is populating trend lines for us. So we can see that all of our products are in fact trending in a positive direction. Oddly enough, office supplies and technology are trending a lot faster upward than furniture. And right off the bat, I can assume that's because higher shipping costs, higher discounts for furniture. It's a little bit harder of a product to sell. It's a little bit, if you're going to buy a couch, it's a little bit different than going to buy a set of headphones. So again, giving you some quick analysis here, a quick, great picture of your customers as a whole. We're going to name this scatter plot. All right, so next, we're going to take a look at some time analysis here. So we're going to drag sales by order date. Okay, now we're seeing, sales over time by year. But, again, I want to get a little bit more detail here. So if you see this little plus icon, we can expand it. So we're going to drag that off. We're going to drag year to color. And now we're looking at month over month on one chart how our company has been performing. So if we hover over here, March of 2018, great. We did about $58,000 in sales. Keep moving on, et cetera, et cetera. So, but I want to see how did I do compared to the previous year. So I want to see some quick year-over-year analysis. So we right-click here on this green pill, and this will be different based on the version of Tableau you're using, just to preface this. So if you are using something newer or something older than 2018.1, if you want to do quick table calculations, you can actually right-click on the green pill, or you can go to analysis, and there will be a field, I believe, right here where you can do the quick table. Just in my version, they've taken it away from me here, and they just took it here. So, but in this case, to do the analysis, we're going to do right-click, quick table calculations, year-over-year growth. So just like this, we can hover over and say, hey, in 2016, in February, we did 164% better than we did in February of 2015. Why is that? That seems like a really high peak. So, but again, that's what we're aiming for in Tableau, is to give you the ability to do these calculations and do this analysis as easy as possible. I know when I was in school, thought I was an Excel guru, building pivot tables, doing all this analysis, writing all these formulas, doing some really cool stuff. And then as soon as I found Tableau, my life had changed. I was able to do just about everything in minimal amounts of time. So this is what you'll see, and this is what the theme you'll hear as you're watching some training videos, as you're talking to colleagues or friends that might be using Tableau. It's the speed to analysis. We are aiming to make this as easy as possible with as little deep level coding as necessary. Now, saying that, you do have the option to add that coding aspect into Tableau if you want to do some analysis with SQL or R or Python or things along those lines. That is something that'll be available. But just off the start, as you get started, trying to make this as easy as possible. All right, so now I've shown 4 charts. You've seen these really pretty graphics, these nice visuals. Well, let's be honest, there's still the crowd out there, there's still a lot of people, and there's still a lot of situations that you need numbers. You just need the tabular format. You need that analysis to be available to, an executive team, for somebody to take a look quick on the fly, or maybe just to add some context to a visualization you've already built. So in this case, what do I do here? So I want to look at sales, and I want to look at it by category, not states, subcategory, and order date. But I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to build a tabular format. I know how to build a map. I know how to build a scattershot, bar chart. Well, this is where I'm going to show you the show me icon. So this is where Tableau, again, is trying to do some of the thinking for us as users. It's trying to make our lives easy as possible. So I have these 4 data points suggested, or highlighted. Now the show me icon is suggesting the data and the visualizations that we suggest you using based on the data we have selected. So you see, some are grayed out, but some are colored in. The ones that are colored in are Tableau being like, hey, Mike, we suggest you do a cross tab, or a text table, or a heat map, highlighted table, based on the data that you have. But in this case, I just want to do a text table. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And just like that, Tableau is populating this tab for us. But, built the tab, but I want to add a little, I want to Tableau it a little bit, Tableauify it. I'm making up words as I'm doing this presentation. So let's take sales, the color. We'll change this to square. And now we have a little bit of color behind that chart. So I'm okay with the chart. I view this as a compromise with my manager, right? Built you a tabular chart, but I added a little more context to it. So now you can quickly see phones, deep blue in 2018, performed really well. Or let's say, fasteners overall not performing well. You can play around with the colors if you wanted, for example. So let's edit this. I'm just going to drag this up so you can see it on top of the screen. So these are the predefined or preset color schemes that Tableau has. We do default, just so everybody is in the know, to an orange-blue diverging scale. We used to have a red-green diverging scale, and if anybody knows why we changed, it is because the red-green diverging scale is what is affected by colorblind people. And about 10% of males are colorblind and about 1% of females. So it's a pretty significant number of our population. So that's why we default to this orange-blue diverging scale, because it's not, from our feedback, is most people are okay with this color scale. So really comes down to what you care about. What do you want? So there's no right or way wrong when it comes to colors. It just comes down to your presentation. Okay, so now we have this tabular format. So now we've built 5 sheets in about 20 minutes of analysis, but I want to put them together, and I'm going to talk, and now I'm going to show you how you can share it. Cross tab. So now we're going to build what's called a dashboard. And to go back to Tableau Public, just to put it into context, is, let's see here, it's one of these. Okay, so these visualizations that you're seeing, these are sheets put together in a dashboard. So it might be multiple sheets, it might be 10 sheets, it really depends. But what you saw me just build are the sheets, and these are going to be what we're going to be building right now. So back to Tableau to put together a dashboard. Before I do that, actually, does anybody have any questions? Just going to double check here, see what we got. All right, can you explain what the other marks mean? Absolutely. Okay, so this marks card is basically adding context and adding details to a visualization. So it really depends on what you have going on. So size, again, is going to reflect the size of like bubbles, things like that. Color is obviously going to change the color. Label is going to add labels, so in this case, it added the names behind it. Tooltip is where you can add additional context data points. So if you wanted, let's say, postal code to tooltip. Now when I hover over, it's not a good example, let's say country to tooltip. When I hover over Keith, it's now adding that country to this little box here. This is what's called a tooltip, is where it's adding detail behind a data point. So you can add just about as much detail as you want. And then shape is where you can change it from a circle. So in this case, if you wanted, plus icons or stars, or you can add custom icons here if there's something specific for your team or your organization. So just again, it's allowing you to add context and just add a little bit more details behind what you're visualizing. All right, a lot of questions about how to record this. It is being recorded, and this will be sent out after. There's no way for you to record it from your end at this point. All right, and then sake of time, I'm going to continue to build this dashboard, and I'll get to some more questions at the end. All right, so dashboard, and this is where you're gonna put together sheets that you just built in a presentation format. So drag and drop functionality, again, you'll notice here on the left-hand side, these are the sheets that you just built. So in this case, I'm gonna drag map over. I'm gonna drag the scatter plot over. I'm gonna drag the crosstab over. And I think that's all we're going to use for today. Now I'm going to do some editing here. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of that. Get rid of that. I'm going to drag this over, float this on top of here. Now, if you remember earlier, we added this filter on the map, but I wanted to filter everything. So I want to be able to see not only from a city perspective, specifically on a customer level, but then I also want to see the numbers directly behind that city. So if you go ahead and click here, more options, apply to worksheets, all. Now this filter is filtering all 3 worksheets at one time. So for example, when I click furniture, you're seeing the data on a map from just furniture sales. You're seeing the customers who bought furniture, but just the data based on the furniture they bought. So Bill Donatelli may have bought other things, but we're filtering down just to the furniture line items within the Excel file. And then you can see specifically how that city is doing from a numbers perspective. So it's just adding a little bit more context to exactly this filter. Now in this case, I want to be able to use this map as a filter as well. So I want to use the visualization as a filter itself. If you go ahead and click here, use this filter, just like that, now this map is its own filter. So if we click on New York City, now you're getting to just the really details behind New York City itself. So you're seeing a customer breakdown. As you can see, there's very few unprofitable customers in New York City. And then here are the numbers. So you can see chairs are doing well, copiers are doing well, which is kind of odd. I think we need a new updated data set there. I don't think a lot of people are buying copiers. And then phones, obviously. Phones are performing very well. Binders are performing well. So again, it's just going to give you that context here. So now we have this dashboard built, but I want to share it. I want to share it with my team, with my organization, with my class. So you're going to go to server, and then you're going to go to publish data source, publish workbook, sorry. Let that come up here. Okay, so now you have the ability to name it. So we're going to name it Monday, Tableau demonstration. You can select which sheets you want published. So do you want the individual sheets published, or do you just want the dashboard published, for example? So in this case, all I want to do is publish the dashboard. So I'm going to click only dashboard, and then permissions. This is going to get a little bit more depth, and you'll probably learn a little bit more about this as you're watching some videos, as you're learning Tableau, but just cover it quick. This is where you can control who has the authority to do what within Tableau, right? So you have a group of people you want to be able to look at what you built, download what you built, make changes to what you built, but you also have a group of people you only want to be able to view what you built, and this is where you can set those permissioning. So you can select different groups, viewer, interact, or you can name them exactly what you want, but again, this is where you have the authority and the ability to control the content, to control who has the ability to do what, to make sure that nobody is doing something that you don't want them to do. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get this published. And this is where you'll publish to Tableau Server or Tableau Online, depending on what your organization has. In most cases, we see Tableau Server, which is managed, and the only difference is one's managed by Tableau and one's managed on-premise by you. So now this is published, and this is ready to be shared. Just a second to load. So now within your browser, this is a Tableau dashboard. So this is being viewed by your team, by your boss, by your manager, and all of the editing functionality, fun stuff that we built in is here and available to the person. So if they're on a laptop, if they're on a tablet, depending on the medium that they're using, they should be able to use this and be able to take advantage of everything that you just spent all of the time and effort in building. You can subscribe. So this goes back to what I mentioned in the beginning, depending on how frequent your data is updated. If you want the most up-to-date dashboard every day, every week, you can say, hey, Tableau, send me a copy of the dashboard every Monday. So for example, I come in every day and I have about 4 or 5 dashboards sent to me on various areas to help me track what I'm doing for my job. So to make sure that I'm on track to meet the metrics set forth by me. You can subscribe others here as well. So for example, if you spend all this time to build a dashboard, but you can't, you just don't think your team's going to go out here and physically subscribe, you can subscribe them. And I see that question just came through as well. So you do have the ability to subscribe others. You can download it directly from here. So if you, have a reason to do that, you can do some web editing as well. Some companies do have this enabled, some do not. So you might have the ability to do this or you might not, I'm not sure, but I wanted to be able to show you that are web editing functionality. So if you go on here and you want to change something, you can actually make physical changes. So you can see here, it's just about the same functionality as Tableau as I just showed you. You can create new worksheets. So if I wanted to create it, sales by time. I know somebody asked earlier, they wanted to see how I changed it from year to month. So when you see year here, this little plus icon will give you the ability to expand on that. So you just go ahead and click here, expand, and it'll change it based on what you're looking at. So that's a little bit about the web editing functionality. So went through this pretty quick today. Walk through what Tableau is, what the sessions are going to be all about. What we're going to be covering on each Monday, then within each office hours, and then finished here within Tableau itself for about 40 minutes. If you noticed, we did about 5 different charts, put that up into a dashboard, and then shared it just like that. So very quick, very easy, and you guys will be getting the links to everything I just shared today as well as some questions to help get you ready for the office hours this week. Now, these office hours the first week are going to be a little bit different, as today is more high level, as more of a learning aspect. So this week's office hours, I recommend, if you have any questions, specifically on Tableau from how it works, what you can do, what you cannot do, if you have questions on best practices when it comes to learning and in terms of getting started, things along those lines. And I will provide some questions to kind of help you think about that, what you need to do, what you can do. And then the next sessions will be a little bit more formal on specific content, on what we presented, what you'll be working on. But I'll hang around here. Let me take a look at the chat, see what type of questions we got. And I will send out my contact information after this. So if anybody has any questions throughout your time, please don't hesitate to ask me directly. So can I prepare my dashboard to fit the size that eliminates scroll bars? Absolutely. That just comes down from a formatting perspective and how to best fit the visualizations within your dashboard. So that comes down to the fact, hey, if I have a scroll bar, is this the right chart to show? It may or may not be. So you might have to adjust based on that. Can you subscribe others? Absolutely. Standard dashboard size in 10.3 server. I'd have to get back to you on that one. Let's see. Am I able to view the recordings? Absolutely. I will be recording all of these sessions and publishing it directly to this page here. So you'll see them down on the bottom. So these will be the live webinars, and then you'll see a section right under Viz Contest here that says On-Demand Webinars. And this will be a link of all the recordings that have been done throughout this series. So yes, they will all be recorded. Can you please share the Excel sheet? Yep, absolutely. I will put that up into my Box account and share that as well. Can you integrate in web applications? Absolutely. So we do integrate with a lot of different web applications. If your data set was in 2 Excel files, do you need to consolidate? No, you can do joins or unions within Tableau, so you can bring in multiple Excel data sets. Can you change what's identified as a dimension or measure by Tableau? Yes, absolutely. So for example, to go back here real quick, if you want, let's say, if you see, for example, hey, profit is actually a dimension, you can just drag that right up here, and it automatically converts that into a mention for you. So Tableau is trying to do its best job of categorizing these for you. But if you do see an error, if you want to see something change, you just, again, drag and drop. So, we can drag ship date to measures, and it converts that to a measure for you. So absolutely, you do have the ability to do that. And this is the page. Again, you'll see the recordings right under here. So let's throw this into the chat if, even though this will be part of my follow-up. Okay. So, any other questions before I go ahead and get this closed out today? Looks like there's a question, can you transfer slides into PowerPoint? Yeah, absolutely. So you can. There are definitely many different ways to export this into PowerPoint. I would shoot me an email directly, and I can, give you some details on exactly what your options are on that. Connection to Salesforce. Yes, absolutely. That's one of the biggest connections, and I can tell you that I use Tableau on a daily basis to connect to Salesforce. So absolutely. Salesforce will only allow you to connect via an extract, though, and that is dictated by Salesforce itself, just so they don't have a lot of constant pull on their servers internally. So yes. How do data live connections work? So great question. So again, when you connect to Tableau, you're going to be given 2 options to connect via live or via extract. And the live connection is where you're connecting directly to a database. So I'm going to use Salesforce for example, even though you can't do that. But if let's say you were looking at some type of relational database where you're looking at your customer information, what's going on internally at your company, that's always changing. It's always updating every second. There's going to be new input. That's where you'll be connecting, and the second anything is updated within that database, it's going to be automatically updated within Tableau. So there's no need to do any refreshes or extracts. It's just always going to have that constant flow of updated information. Can you connect to SharePoint online? Yep, absolutely. So that's a feature we released in 10.5. So depending on what version your organization is using, you should be able to connect to SharePoint either directly, or if you're on a version that's prior to 10.5, you'll be able to use our other database connector to connect via SharePoint. Yeah, so if you use an extract and you change the location, it will break the dashboard. So if you do use an extract and you save it to your local file, you're going to have to keep it in the same area so Tableau can constantly pull that information from the correct area. Is OLAP Cube a feasible data set for Tableau? Cubes are hard to analyze within Tableau. I'm not saying we can't do cube analysis, but the concept of a cube is where you're pre-aggregating the data, where Tableau is we're essentially doing the same thing, just in a different way. So yes, there are ways to connect via a cube and Tableau. It's just going to be a little bit different. So John, I recommend shooting me an email, and I can provide you some resources specifically on how you can go about doing that. All right. Well, we're at about 12:03 today. Don't see any more questions. Like I said, I will be sending a follow-up email, I would say in about an hour or so, with a bunch of resources that I just shared, as well as my contact information. So if any of you have any questions, please reach out to me. I am here to help throughout your time as an intern and using Tableau. That is my job at Tableau. So as a customer success manager by definition, I am here to help you be successful. So I just want to thank you all for taking an hour out of your day, a couple hours out of your weeks upcoming, and learning Tableau. And I really look forward to getting to you guys and working with you and helping. So again, thanks for your time today, and have a great rest of your Monday.